Hey guys, I'll try and make this my last time making these videos. I'll get in it for like 7 minutes, and then it'll tell me to reconnect, and I'll lose all of my recording. I'm really getting sick of this, so I'll try and do it one more time. This topic is going to be about well, let me introduce myself. This is Black versus Black. Um, I'm new to this. I just started today. Um, you know, my recordings will not be rehearsed or scripted. I'll be talking as I go. So if I have a couple ums and stutters, please don't judge me. So I think I'm gonna go on topic now. Alright, so I'll be naming this topic, why are black people so judgmental? Now, I know that this is not all black people. I'm not generalizing or lumping all of us together. So before you call me a self-hater or Uncle Time for speaking the actual truth, you can just, log off, not listen. If you don't want to hear the truth, just don't listen. Alright? I kind of have a cold, so my voice might sound a little scratchy. Yeah, so I just want to say how judgmental black people are. You know, um, ever I grew up in an urban area. I was unfortunate. I wasn't as fortunate. You know, but I've always been, what some would say, not black enough. Even though you can look at me and clearly tell that I'm black, people would say you're not black enough, because I'll have proper English, I don't listen to rap, I love education, I'm not saying that there's no black people out there, but out there like that, but the ones that I grew up around wasn't, so I was in school. I would always be judged and picked on. The kids always said that I thought that I was better than them, and this is when I was like in middle school. This started when I got to like seventh grade. Um, but at the same time, I was always taught that white people are my enemies when it was black people who didn't like their hair. They didn't like my hair. Said my hair was nappy. You know, said that I thought that I was better, said that I talked white, and all of this other shit. But but they would tell you that white people are enemies. When when I didn't get low self-esteem from a white person, I didn't get any discrimination from a white person. All of the people that treated me good, like that, I never felt any discrimination from all white. I'm not saying that there's no racist white people, but I have never had any encounters with one. I mean, they could have been faking it. I don't know. But I have a ton of non-black friends, and I have a few black friends. I'm not saying that other races are smarter than blacks, but they have a more rational form of thinking. You know, when I'm around blacks, it's always about me. Oh, you want to date interracial? You, you don't love your own people. When I love my people, I love myself. It's my people who don't love me for me and doesn't love themselves. I love being who I am. Just because I have a lot of non-black friends and I date interracially doesn't mean that I'm a sellout. It seems as though black people will hate and jump down someone who's different than them, but the minute someone bashes them for being different, here comes their shit, their bitching, their victim mentality in the NAACP. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't mean for that to happen. If you heard that, I'm sorry. But, I just, um, I never understood that, just because I date interracially, oh, you're a self-hater. When, no, I'm not. It's just that the black guys that I try to date weren't, they just did. I didn't like the way they treated me. I'm not, I'll save that for another. That's another video. I'm gonna save that. But I just want to say how judgmental blacks are. They complain and complain. We complain and complain about police walking up and down our streets, but we don't say, hey, maybe they're here because that 3-year-old who was shot by a stray bullet the other day, or that man who had his brains blown out on the fucking ground. That's probably why there's a cop parked at that corner, and cops walking all down up and down the streets and stopping people that look suspicious, or fit a description. That's why. And I'm quite sure there is some racist cops out there. I'm not going to justify that shit. I know that there's racist cops out there. I know that there's racist people of every color, and I know that there's racist white people. I'm not saying that there isn't. I know that there are. They've been racist towards us for years. I know that it's not just going to disappear, but for us to just assume and lump and generalize other people is wrong. But when someone throw a rock through our glass house, then here goes the riots, here goes the protest. We don't protest about black on black crime, we don't protest about that shit, but we protest about someone being killed when that guy probably would have been killed by another that black guy probably would have been killed by another black guy anyway. And guess what? His life wouldn't have mattered. If Mike Brown would have been killed by a black guy, you think there would be protests and fucking J. Cole and Al Sharpton standing on that podium? No. If Edward Gardner would have been shot and robbed by a black guy, do you think that there would have been hashtags about him? No. Same thing for Tamir Rice, etc. Trayvon Martin, same fucking thing. Okay? To me, there's no difference. Okay? There is no difference. I feel bad for them guys. No one deserves to have their life taken. But people need to stop being cowards and look at the big picture. Okay? Alright guys, I don't want to drag this video out. I just wanted to do an introduction. I'm going to have a ton of more interesting topics, and I just wanted to let you guys know that I was out there. I would love if you guys would subscribe to my channel and leave a comment. Negative comments will be blocked and deleted. Give me thumbs up and look forward to more videos. I will try to upload a new video later on today, so stay tuned. Bye, have a nice day. Again, this is Black vs. Black. Alright, bye.